Hi, welcome to the quiz. You can answer along on quizalto.com, all for free. The exact URL of this quiz will be in the notes down below. Let's get started, good luck. Which AWS services are available on AWS Outposts? Compute, storage, database, and other services such as ECS, EKS, and RDS. Only S3 and EC2 services. Only AWS Lambda and AWS Fargate. Only AWS IAM and AWS CloudTrail. AWS Outpost supports a variety of services including compute, storage, database, and container services like ECS, EKS, and RDS. What kind of applications can AWS Outpost support? Only backup and storage applications. Only applications without compliance requirements. Applications requiring low latency, local data processing, and hybrid cloud integration. Applications needing high latency connections. AWS Outpost supports applications that require low latency, local data processing, and hybrid cloud integration, making it suitable for a variety of critical workloads. What kind of support infrastructure is required for AWS Outposts? Adequate power, cooling, and network connectivity. Only internet connectivity. Third-party infrastructure services. Minimal support infrastructure is needed. AWS Outposts requires adequate power, cooling, and network connectivity to function properly in an on-premises environment. What kind of support does AWS provide for Outposts installations? Support is provided only through online forums. Only remote support during business hours. No support is provided for installations. 24/7 monitoring and on-site support as needed. AWS provides 24/7 monitoring and on-site support as needed to ensure the smooth operation of Outposts installations. What is the purpose of the AWS Outpost service link? To establish connectivity between the Outpost and its associated AWS region. To connect Outposts to third-party cloud services. To provide backup and recovery services. To manage user access and permissions. The AWS Outpost service link is used to establish connectivity between the Outpost and its associated AWS region for seamless operation. What is the purpose of AWS Outposts capacity planning? To ensure sufficient on-premises resources for workloads. To set up user access controls. To plan for data transfer to the cloud. To determine backup schedules. Capacity planning ensures that there are sufficient on-premises resources to handle the expected workloads without disruption. What are the deployment options for AWS Outposts? Rack and server form factors. Third-party data centers only. Only server form factors. Only virtual deployments. AWS Outposts can be deployed in both rack and server form factors, allowing flexibility in how the service is integrated into on-premises environments. Which of the following describes the deployment model of AWS Outposts? Cloud-only deployment model. Software-only deployment model. Hybrid model without on-premises hardware. On-premises deployment of AWS hardware. AWS Outposts involves deploying AWS hardware on-premises to create a hybrid cloud environment. What is a key consideration when planning for AWS Outposts deployment? Site preparation including power and network requirements. Only the cost of the Outposts rack. Third-party vendor agreements. The number of virtual machines needed. Proper site preparation, including ensuring sufficient power and network connectivity, is crucial for a successful AWS Outposts deployment. What should be considered for network configuration with AWS Outposts? Third-party network services only. No specific network configuration is needed. Only local network setup. Dedicated network linked to AWS and proper on-premises networking setup. A dedicated network linked to AWS and proper on-premises networking setup are crucial for AWS Outposts to function effectively. What is the relationship between AWS Outposts and the AWS shared responsibility model? AWS manages the infrastructure while the customer manages the data and applications. AWS is responsible for data security while the customer is responsible for infrastructure. The customer manages the entire stack including hardware. The shared responsibility model does not apply to AWS Outposts. With AWS Outposts, AWS manages the physical infrastructure, while the customer is responsible for managing data, applications, and configurations. What types of workloads are ideal for AWS Outposts? Low latency and data residency requirements. Exclusive cloud-only applications. Non-critical development workloads. Backup and archive storage. AWS Outposts is ideal for workloads that require low latency, local data processing, and data residency compliance. What is AWS Outposts pricing based on? A flat monthly fee regardless of usage. The specific configuration and usage duration. The amount of data transferred to AWS regions. The number of users accessing the outposts. AWS Outpost pricing depends on the specific hardware configuration chosen and the duration of usage, reflecting the resources and services consumed. How is maintenance of AWS Outposts managed? Third-party vendors manage maintenance. No maintenance is required. AWS manages all maintenance and updates. The customer is responsible for all maintenance. AWS handles all maintenance, updates, and monitoring of the Outposts hardware and software. What does the installation of AWS Outposts involve? Installation by third-party vendors only. Delivery and setup of AWS hardware at the customer site by AWS technicians. No physical installation is required. Customer self-installation of hardware. The installation of AWS Outposts involves AWS technicians delivering and setting up AWS hardware at the customer's on-premises location. Which AWS region connectivity is required for AWS Outposts? Any AWS region worldwide. Multiple AWS regions simultaneously. A specific associated AWS region. No AWS region connectivity is required. AWS Outposts must be connected to a specific associated AWS region to ensure proper functionality and integration. How does AWS Outposts handle software updates? Third-party software is required for updates. Customers must manually download and install updates. No updates are required once installed. AWS automatically manages and deploys updates. AWS manages and deploys software updates for Outposts, ensuring that the infrastructure remains up-to-date and secure. Can AWS Outposts be used in edge locations? No, it is not designed for edge computing. Only for backup purposes in edge locations. Only in large data centers. Yes, it is suitable for edge locations requiring local compute and storage. AWS Outposts is suitable for edge locations, providing local compute and storage capabilities to meet the needs of edge computing scenarios. How is AWS Outposts different from AWS Snowball? AWS Outposts is less scalable than AWS Snowball. AWS Outposts is used for data transfer, while AWS Snowball is used for compute. AWS Outposts cannot be used for compute tasks, unlike AWS Snowball. AWS Outposts is a permanent on-premises solution, while AWS Snowball is a temporary data transfer device. AWS Outposts is a permanent on-premises solution designed to run AWS services, whereas AWS Snowball is a temporary data transfer and edge computing device. What kind of applications are not suitable for AWS Outposts? Purely cloud-native applications with no on-premises requirements. Low latency, high-security applications. Hybrid applications needing local data processing. Applications with strict data residency requirements. Purely cloud-native applications with no need for on-premises resources are not suitable for AWS Outposts, as it is designed to bridge on-premises and cloud environments. What is a key advantage of AWS Outposts over traditional on-premises infrastructure? More flexible licensing options. Access to AWS services and tools on-premises with consistent AWS experience. No need for network connectivity. Lower initial cost than traditional hardware. AWS Outposts offers access to AWS services and tools on-premises, providing a consistent AWS experience and integration with cloud services. How does AWS Outposts integrate with AWS Management Console? It appears as an extension of the AWS region. It cannot be managed from the AWS Management Console. It uses a third-party console for management. It requires a separate management console. AWS Outposts is managed as an extension of the AWS region through the AWS Management Console. What is the role of AWS Direct Connect in AWS Outposts? Only supports non-AWS applications. Used solely for security purposes. Acts as a backup internet connection. Provides a dedicated network connection to AWS. AWS Direct Connect provides a dedicated network connection between the on-premises outpost and the AWS region for consistent and secure connectivity. What is AWS Outposts' role in data residency requirements? Ensures data stays within a specified geographical region. Manages data residency for third-party services. Only supports data residency in the cloud. Facilitates data transfer across multiple regions. AWS Outposts ensures that data stays within a specified geographical region, complying with local data residency regulations and policies. What security measures are inherent in AWS Outposts? Third-party security software is required. Only physical security measures are included. No security features are provided. Built-in encryption, compliance certifications, and security monitoring. AWS Outposts includes built-in encryption, compliance certifications, and AWS security monitoring to protect data and applications. And that's a wrap. Thanks to everyone who participated. Remember, you can answer along on quizalto.com, where you can keep track of your progress and find much more quizzes. We hope you had a fun and challenging time. Until next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more. Hit the bell icon to be notified as soon as we upload. Please leave a comment if you have any thoughts or suggestions, and, if you think this video is worth sharing with someone who could benefit from it, please forward a link to them. See you next time. Thanks for watching.